Hello, welcome to Animal Audit Corner. Yesterday on What's Up with Nora, she did a show about Alex Jinsu and Johnny Lewis, which would turn out to be such a tragic story. There were two boys who practically grew up in Scientology. As we all know, Scientology is known for treating children like they were adults. Nora would be known for being a funny, but always been known for being emotional too. And that would be okay because it's all right to have a good cry every once in a while. Nora can really tell a great story when she is telling it. And this time, when she told that story, she really, really teared up. His father, Alex's father, Herb Jinsu, was president. Both Herbert and Alex were both in the Sea Org. She was actually showing pictures at the same time. And of course, as soon as I learned to actually operate this whole thing, I will show you some pictures too. Norway would show pictures of little Alex when he was only 4 years old. Nora knew Johnny when she was a gym teacher when she was 18 years old. Usually, you're supposed to have a license when teaching, but since it was Scientology and they thought they were above the law, they had an 18-year-old girl be a gym teacher. The youngest teacher is supposed to be at least 21. They're supposed to be well in their 20s, usually, not as teenagers. Then now, some of those public school system doesn't have much information about private schools, which is the reason why the schools might have very little information about private schools. And the reason is the school's authorities didn't know much about them. That's why they had no idea about Delta Academy. Nora thought Johnny was the sweetest kid she had ever met. She really liked the boy very much. Johnny was in school with Nora when she was teaching gym. that's how she got to know him. One day, Johnny had a traumatic brain injury from a motorcycle accident that she talked about on her show. Johnny was there. Johnny, after that traumatic brain injury, he turned into a whole nother person. Johnny was there. Johnny one day killed his landlord and disassembled a cat, which is really very serious if he killed his landlord and then later would turn around and disassemble a cat. And as we recall, Scientology has that history of abusing animals. And this is one of them. He might have saw somebody in Scientology abuse animals, and that's where he picked it up. That would be my guess, because that would be a very good guess. Then Johnny was put in a mental hospital and was given antipsychotic drugs. And those drugs really worked. And he was successfully calm, and those drugs really benefited Johnny. Then his parents pulled him out of the hospital and took him off his medication when a judge granted them permission to take him out. And that's when it turned into a mess. They would take him off his medication and went back to being psychotic. And this is right after he was there actually getting the treatment he needed. And then his parents don't think, because guess what? They're in Scientology and they don't believe in drugs. So they just took him off that antipsychotic drug because of that accident that caused trauma to his head. And then he turned into a whole new different person. And they thought Scientology was going to work. One day he was beating up on one of the guys who was working on the house he was living in at the time. Now, is he renting it? Did he actually buy it? But you know what? I don't know. Since he was getting gigs as an actor, he was getting paid, but they don't get residual checks until they go into syndication. So he was in the Game of Thrones, but I guess now he might be getting them because it looks like it's off the air now. So one day, when he was beating up on that worker where he was living at, there were other crew members with the guy he was beating up, saw it happen, and started to go after him. They chased him up the roof where he jumped off and took his own life. Nora was totally shook up by his life and his death. She really let it out that yesterday. Then later, Nora placed. Later, Nora would also talk about working for Scientology. Then later on in her life, Nora was placed in a concentration camp where she would be working for Scientology in a labor camp. And it was free labor. There she would meet a crazy woman at that concentration labor camp. And we all know Scientology covers up all the crimes. Did she do any crimes? Yeah. Because she one day sexually assaulted Alex. They did not dismiss her. They did not call the police. And then Nora runs into her. Nora would pull up a picture of the crazy woman. Her name is Marcia Powell. And I wish I could pull up a picture of her, but man, she wasn't a young woman. She actually looked like a grandmother. Only today, grandmothers would look